beauty, wonder, the unexpected, the sun, water and light, and hope, color and laughter. These are some of my favorite things about life. They just never get old, and the older I get, the more I notice them, everywhere, in everything. A week before my birthday this year, a group of ladies from Singapore visited our team in Japan, and their entire goal for their trip was just to bless and encourage us. So we began the week with a trip to Teamlab, which is for sure one of my favorite places in all of Tokyo. And as I walked through this gate, I heard the Lord say in my ear, "Happy birthday." And suddenly I remembered, God loves to celebrate our birthdays. He loves to reminisce on the past year of memories we've made together with him and comb through all of the ups and downs and lessons and joys. And he loves to give gifts. He really, really loves to give gifts, especially good ones. These ladies had no idea that my birthday was coming up. It was sort of like a secret little surprise gift just from my father to me. Only he knew how special this would be for me. I experienced God so richly in this place, and it's because it's really just a huge building filled with overflowing creativity. My husband said the other day that he believes the thing that most defines us as being made in the image and likeness of God is our ability to create. And I agree. And here, people, regular humans like you and me, had ideas. Deeply intricate, passionate, innovative, creative ideas. And they worked really hard to bring what they dreamed up to life, for nothing else than just for people to experience it. People don't even need to have a positive reaction to it. They don't need to enjoy it. They don't need to like it. They don't need to want to revisit it, but they get to experience it. And for some artist somewhere behind the scenes, that made it worth creating it. So yeah, part of the draw for me is that while I'm gazing at all this beautiful artwork, I'm astounded by the fact that humans created in the image of God thought this up and brought it to life. But Teamlab is so much more than just a pretty place. It's fully immersive. I'm showing you some of what it looks like, but seeing it on a screen truly cannot convey the actual experience of it. There are textures and objects and temperatures to touch and feel, and scents to smell and sounds to get lost in. It's really a full body experience. Every room has its own music, perfectly paired with the visuals. Some of the artwork moves through the hallways to different rooms seamlessly. I don't even know how they do that. And if you stay in one room long enough, it turns into a completely different space, but it happens so gradually you don't notice it while it's happening, and then all of a sudden, you're in a new land. This room had an interactive floor that could sense your movement, so the water followed you wherever you walked on it. And I had the perfect amount of fun with that. So this room, we walked in and thought it was just an under-the-sea exhibit. You know, fishes, turtles, seaweed, and kelp. Cute but normal stuff. Then we realized the sea creatures were interactive. Like, if you touched them, they darted away from you. How do you do that? Just mind blown. After a while of playing with the walls, we noticed all the sea creatures looked kind of like they were colored by children. So we thought maybe it was a school kid exhibit or something. But a little farther in, we discovered this line of people holding these sea creature papers and realized we could color our own. So naturally, we joined the line. I colored a little turtle who's thinking about love, and Ryan colored this cute little heart-filled jellyfish. And we were on our way out with our coloring paper when this lady stopped us and asked if we wanted our pictures projected onto the wall. And she literally scanned them right then and there, and boom, they just dropped out of the sky and started swimming around with all the other sea life.
There's my little guy. Oh my gosh.
So at Teamlab, I'm clearly filled with fascination, and I'm brought face to face with all the wonder purposely designed into life. I'm brought into a place of awe towards the source of all creation, and reminded why you and I were created in the first place. It's always been to see this, and this, and this. And this. And in it, to find God. You were created for beauty and wonder and unexpected, unimaginable explosions of newness that have you saying wow over and over again. You were created not just to live, but to feel alive. That's in your happiness and your sorrow, in the light and in the shadows that the light eventually conquers. You were made to be filled with awe. This world, this life, was created to reveal something beyond us, to reveal a brilliant, intricate, oxymoronic, marvelous, unmatchable creator, vast enough to cover the expanse of the universe merely with his hand, and small enough to fit inside of your heart, powerful enough to create the phenomenon of light by the sound and temperature and force of his breath, and gentle and tangible enough to care for sheep with a rod and a staff. You were created to know things beyond your wildest imagination, and to search for things you'll never even know within yourself exist to search for until they're revealed to you by something beyond yourself. You're meant to feel like you don't fit in. You're meant to feel like there has to be something more. There does have to be something more. There is something more. There's so much more. There's two of you guys. That's so funny. It's like the Parent Trap. Wow. This room felt like we were inside Riley's brain and Inside Out, and at the same time in the fifth dimension of Interstellar, which I personally believe are two of the best movies in existence, for a couple reasons. They both make you think outside of the box while putting you inside a sort of box, and I'm a sucker for a good paradox. And that's exactly what Teamlab does, by the way. It puts you inside this big black box and takes your brain and your heart, if you're me, outside of the box. But the other main reason I love those two movies is because of the way they not only portray the holistic experience of a person, but also show the beauty of that holistic experience. The positive and negative emotions, the necessity of both, what happens inside a person when they interact with other people and elements, and the complexity of life. I don't know how this has happened, but as I've gotten older, all of life has seemed to become simultaneously more complex and more simple. I'll go through these pockets of time where everything feels huge and significant, and then all of a sudden the whole world feels like the most carefree place ever, like nothing matters. But I actually think it's because I've found the one thing that actually does matter. And that one thing has become so obvious to me. So when my eyes are on it, or on him, I'm talking about Jesus, by the way, and I'm connected to him, every single little thing has so much significance attached to it. Because it's all for him, and it's all him speaking and revealing himself and inviting us into himself. Yet, at the same time, this whole world feels meaningless to me. Because now I know him, and nothing else compares. And I just can't wait till he comes back and all of this, all the systems and distractions fade away, and it's just Jesus in all his brilliance and glory, just here for us to be wholly, completely exposed to for all of eternity. Which sounds simple and is ultimately the most complex thing I can imagine. Today, we're going to Lake Okutama. Okutama Mizushi Nikimasu. On the count of 3.
Flip on orange.
Then One, 2, 3. The past few years of birthdays, I've honestly been amazed at what my life has become and even where I am in the world. Last year, I spent it in Guyana in a meeting for worship at our church as the worship pastor of our church. My first birthday married, my first birthday in full-time ministry, my first birthday spent at work. The year before that, I actually happened to be in Japan for my birthday, and we spent the day telling people about Jesus at Tokyo University. It was the first time I'd ever evangelized on my birthday. The one before that, God brought Stefan to visit me in Nashville, and he told me the previous birthday that the promise of us coming together would come to pass in this way. That's a whole nother story, but definitely made that year one for the books. So as I grow with the Lord, life gets more and more special, and he's always surprising me with what he has planned for my birthday again. This year, when I realized it was going to fall on a Sunday, I really wasn't sure how I wanted to spend it because it'd been a while since I'd chosen what I wanted to do on the day. So I'd been praying about it since the beginning of the year, and early one morning, while I was still in bed in that half asleep, half awake state, God gave me this idea to go on a prayer walk in this mountainous area on the outskirts of Tokyo called Lake Okutama. I looked it up and was immediately enthralled by its beauty, but it was a bit far from where we live, and at the time, we really didn't have the money for the trip. So I just kept it secret with the Lord and prayed and asked him to provide for us to be able to go. A couple weeks later, Stefan asked how I wanted to spend the day, and when I told him, he began praying with me. And within the next month, Stefan let me know we'd be able to afford to go. I was so happy that I cried when he told me. So February 15th, we got up early to take on Tokyo's trains, and like 5 minutes into our walk to the train station, Stefan pulled out an earphone and stuck it in my ear and started playing a voice recording from a friend whose voice I hadn't heard in ages. And the friend began giving me a prophetic word and then prayed for me. And then Stefan proceeded to do this every 10 minutes or so for the entire trip out to the lake. Apparently, he had reached out to some friends who are really dear to my heart and my family members a few weeks earlier and asked them to pray about word gifts to give me. So as we traveled, the commute literally turned into a prayer journey as I got to gaze out the window at these breathtaking views and just be washed by the word of the Lord over me for this new year of life. It was so intentional and thoughtful, and a gift like none I've ever received before. And I had no idea yet, but that wasn't even the half of it. The bus dropped us off kinda in the middle of nowhere, and Stefan kept acting like he didn't know what was around and we were just exploring and maybe we'd find something like a coffee shop. I had absolutely no cares in the whole world. I mean, these were my views. This was literally all I dreamed of and more. The nature and the silence and listening to the Holy Spirit and pondering his words and walking hand in hand with my favorite person over bridges. Soon we rounded a corner and approached this cute little cafe, and Stefan announced, "Here we are," and I realized he'd planned to bring me here all along. And then, right after we got our drinks, he was like, "Okay, I have an idea. Close your eyes and don't open them till I say so." So I did, and when I closed them, I was suddenly hugged from behind by my friend Ryan, and then Lorelai and Shion. They had all planned to surprise me all the way out here. Wow, a whole little room just for us.
She really likes cats.
It's almost stuck to her theme. Yeah.
Ichigo daisuki desu ka?
It's so cute.
It's not so little. Actually.
Ryan, you should jiggle it.
Oh! What the flip?
Oh my god. Instant tears.
What did your family do for birthdays?
We always
Sing this dreary song.
we have a birthday special. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Sin and sorrow fill the air.
People dying everywhere.
Happy birthday.
That's crazy, young mom. That is so depressing.
Yeah. Shoot, no, remember all these sad things happening, but you have a happy birthday.
Wonder how many other lips have been on that bear.
Oh my god. Sunshine.
The building is like so quaint from the outside.
Yeah.
So Japanese.
After lunch, we traipsed through this breathtaking scenery for the next couple of hours with no destination in mind. The traipsing was the destination. I watched this video the other day where a guy was talking about how we don't look at things anymore. The moment we see something beautiful, we whip out our phones and open our cameras, not to take a picture, but to capture it, to try and preserve the moment. And there's so much innocence in that. And a kind of beauty in it, I think. The fact that we fall so in love with specific moments or sights that we can't imagine the rest of our lives without having a piece of that to carry with us. But the truth is, we can't keep anything alive longer than its lifespan, because we don't give anything life. And that includes the moments that make us feel alive. And I think God designed life with everything having its living and its moving and its being inside of Him, so that we wouldn't have to wish we could go back to a specific moment to find Him and feel wonder, or sprint ahead to the next moment of beauty, or try and preserve a sight that really will only ever exist in a single moment, like the lines of the sun in this particular sunset. One of my favorite things about sunsets is that you could look away from them and look back a minute later, and the sky could be a completely different color. The moment changes that quickly, but the new color is equally beautiful in such a different way. I guess all I'm trying to say is, in all the years I've lived and all the birthdays I've lived through, the most important thing I've learned is God is present in every moment, and He's the one who makes the moments worth wanting to capture. You don't have to wish you saw Him earlier on. You don't have to hope you'll find Him in the future. All you have to do is look, right now, right where you are, at what's right in front of you. Look for Him, and you'll find Him. And wrapped up inside that finding Him and knowing Him and being known by Him, there's the meaning of life. just to know him and be known by him. The girlies had even more surprises up their sleeves, so when we finished dilly-dallying around the lake and were on our way home, literally in the train station, they revealed that they'd booked an Airbnb to spend the night in the mountains.
No way, no way.
Okay, let's go.
Oh my gosh.
Let's go.
Wait, what?
Oh my god.
They'd arrived earlier on that day and set up decorations and prepped a whole birthday feast and breakfast for the next morning.
Birthday girl? No. Meat sample? Hi.
Cooked to perfection. This is so.
Happy birthday to you.
Something really cool about spending your birthday in Japan, if you're from the Western world, is that when the day's over, it's your birthday all over again back in North America. So in the morning, the celebration continued. Shiona and I rose before the crack of dawn and headed out in search of the perfect hillside spot to watch the sunrise over the mountains. And we totally found it. We sat here in silence for about an hour, just watching, waiting, hoping, watching the crevice where the mountains meet, waiting for warmth, hoping to see something more than just the sun. When it rose, it was unlike anything I've ever seen before, the way the light gradually crept over the landscape from house to house. All I kept thinking was, the sun rises on the just and the unjust, but sun as in the Son of God. And I'm sure you guessed this, but I just wept. I wept and wept and wept, and when I was finished weeping, I danced and sang, and Shion and I hugged and...
Wanna yell hallelujah? Yes! 1, 2, 3.
Because I saw Jesus in the sunrise. I saw him slowly, so slowly, cascade over every home, every tree, every yard with light. In that moment, I saw him come for Japan, come to rescue her, come to love her, come to serve her, come to heal and unwind and thaw, and come to shine upon her. And that, well, that's the best birthday gift I could think of. So yeah, I think my birthday gets better every year because I know him better every year. I can see him more clearly. I can get lost in his glory. I can forget about myself and my life and sink into the awe of what his life is able to do in us. At the end of this day, the only way I could describe what just happened to me was the extravagant love of the Lord. A kind of love that makes you realize, oh, I will never be able to love this person as much as they love me. I felt that towards my husband and towards all my friends, and in that, straight towards God. His love is in everything, in the intention of all creation and the people he places in our lives and the gifts he gives humans to be able to create beautiful artwork, and the sunrise and the sunset and cat cafes and yummy meat and turtle coloring and literally every other thing there ever was. I remember being like 13 years old and lying on my bed wondering what even is the purpose of all this? Why am I here? Why am I alive? What's the point? And no one ever told me that all those really deep, complex, existential, life-altering questions had one little simple answer, and that I could find it everywhere. Maybe that was a lot of yapping, but hopefully it explained why this feels the same to me as this. Beauty, wonder, the unexpected, the sun, hope. Mountains, water, light, color, laughter. These are some of my favorite things about Jesus. He just never gets old. And the older I get, the more I see him everywhere, in everything.